Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Staggy again, back with yet another Disney Lorcana video. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about the one-drop characters that we have in the game so far. Now specifically, I do want to talk about the cards like Stitch, Goons, Sergeant Tibbs, Flounder, and Archimedes. And of course, the Emerald one, whoever that might be, is going to be lumped into this group. But specifically, I wanted to talk about the one-cost characters that have the inkable symbol. That, they can be inked, and they have 2 strength, 2 willpower, and 1 lore. Now, why am I bringing this up? We know that in Disney Lorcana, there is no separate system for resources, right? Your resource system is your deck. All the cards you have in hand and, that you draw can be used for a resource unless they're, not inkable. I couldn't help but notice and think about this. When we received our new cards last week, one of them was Archimedes. And I was surprised to see Archimedes. I brought this up earlier too. And you might be thinking, why were you surprised, Steggy, to see Archimedes? 4 other colors have a 1-drop 2/2 character that can quest for 1 lore. My reasoning was I was surprised to see it because we already have several other 1-cost amethyst cards. We have Olaf over here, we have Pascal right above Archimedes, and then of course we can't forget about Maleficent. We have 3 other 1-cost amethyst cards. Why did we get another one? Why does amethyst get another color? Goons in Steel is also competing with Captain Hook. That is another, 1-drop character. And if we're talking Amber and talking other colors as well, in addition to Stitch New Dog, we also have Hey Hey and Timon. Why do we have these cards? Why do we have so many? Well, one situation, one answer is that it's the first set, so we're going to have some generic low-cost characters. But to go back to my original idea of that there is no resource system, what if these 1-cost cards are kind of meant to be the resource system? In, most cases, if your starting hand contained a Goons and a Captain Hook, which of those cards are you more likely to ink, and which of those cards are you more likely to play? I can see strength for having like a 2 strength, 2 lore character in play, right? Especially like on your very first turn and your opponent hasn't gone yet. You have no idea what your opponent's going to play. Captain Hook is functionally stronger than Goons in most cases, right? Now, an exerted Hook does lose in challenges to a lot of turn 1 plays, like Goons, like Stitch, Sergeant Tibbs, etc., etc. But Captain Hook is also able to challenge into higher costed characters and take them out. So he has some strength there. To even, go a bit more in depth with this, what if I asked if your starting hand contained Archimedes and Pascal? Which card are you more likely to ink? And then which card are you more likely to play? I think only once ever have I inked a Pascal, and that was only so I could get an Aladdin Heroic Outlaw into play, I think that was the only reason why I did that. But in most cases, you're going to want to play Pascal. I'm not going to play Archimedes when I could rather do Pascal. So this got me wondering, I bet that these turn 1 ally cards are supposed to be meant to be used for resources. And that is how I've been treating them. Right now, I've been doing a lot of play testing with Amethyst and Emerald. Now, unfortunately, we don't have, the 1-drop Emerald card. I do have Archimedes in my deck, and whenever I draw Archimedes, I instantly ink him. Instantly, I just put him right in there. Now, once I get to 6 resources or 6 ink, I don't usually ink anymore. But up until that point, I think, okay, I'm holding Archimedes. I have a resource that I can put into play. And I wonder if that is kind of the idea or the goal of the game, essentially. Or the point of these characters is to just ink them. Because you have to ink something, right? If you have It's difficult when you draw your starting hand of 7 cards, and in most cases, you do want to ink your higher costed cards so you can play your lower costed cards. But if I'm holding 2 1-cost cards in my hand, like an Archimedes and a Pascal, why would I want to play something, why would I want to ink like my Jumba or my Jafar or something that costs more ink when I could simply just ink one of my 1-cost characters and then play the other one? Because on my turn 2, ideally, I would want to play a 2-drop character, and then on my 3rd turn, I would want to play a 3-drop character, etc., etc. If I'm just holding on to an extra 1-drop character, what am I going to do with it? It would be much better if I draw that later, or if I can get around it, maybe not draw that later. So I know I personally try to ink my extra lower costed cards before I ink my higher costed cards, because arguably the higher costed cards are better and they're going to help me win the game versus some of these smaller cards. Now, something like a Pascal is definitely going to help later on, and I actually think Maleficent is super good later on. I don't think she's a bad draw later on at all. I arguably would probably say she's stronger when your opponent has less cards in hand and then less ways to deal with her. You could just drop her down like turn 5 or turn 6. If you can keep her protected, great. But she's like basically an extra free 2 lore. At turn 5 or turn 6, opponents aren't going to want to use like Let It Go or Dragonfire or stuff like that on her, because that feels bad. That's using a 5-cost card on a 1-cost card. So no one's going to want to do that. Obviously, Fire the Cannons is a good 1-for-1 trade, but regardless, I do think Maleficent's really good later on. So as a whole, what am I trying to say here? I think that stuff like Flounder, Stitch, Goons, Archimedes, Sergeant Tibbs, I think those cards are meant to be inked. And that is how I've been treating them, and it's working out really well. We have other cards that work really well when played, like Hey is awesome when he's on the field. Timon has an effect when he's played. Pascal. Olaf's another one. I actually honestly ink him a lot if I do play him. I just kind of toss him in there. But, he's a 1/3, so it's not terrible. He does take 2 hits from a character with 2 strength in order to be taken out. And with at least 1 strength, he does a little bit of damage in return, but, it's better than nothing. But I do think that these cheap 1-cost characters, these allies, are supposed to be inked. I think that is like their strength, because I don't really think they have a lot of synergy outside of, say, well, Stitch, New Dog. Stitch can be shifted onto. We do have another Stitch coming out, and he's probably going to cost like 2 or 3 resources, I would imagine. He actually might be maybe a 3/4 or something, a 3-cost 3/4, and then you can just shift them on your next turn, which would then allow you to place this Stitch into your inkwell, or, if you draw them later, you might be able to shift with them as well. That's more resources. That's, an option. You might be able to do that. Who knows? Either way, I do think that these cards are meant to be placed into your inkwell so you can then play your other cards, which have a bit more impact on the game. But hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. I'm just getting some thoughts out there. Let me know what you think. If you're like, oh, you know what? You might be on to something here. Maybe these 1-cost cards are, supposed to be used for ink. And if you think about it, as another note, if you have 2 colors, say we're running Amber and Amethyst, I could ink Archimedes and Stitch New Dog, and that's 8 cards that I can put into my inkwell, which would free up other cards in my deck. Yeah, I'm probably not going to get all 8 of those cards, but if I draw one or another of those cards, if I draw Archimedes, if I draw Stitch, I think, okay, I'm just going to put it into my inkwell. That's the whole point of this card. However, I could still play it if I needed to, right? Like if it's later in the game, you need to just put characters down, try to get that last bit of lore. Yeah, throw them down, You hit your goal, of 6 or 7 resources and you end up drawing like a Stitch or Archimedes or something. Yeah, go ahead and play it, No real reason why you need to keep inking at that point, but you have more options to put those cards into play, which frees up your other good cards for the main strategy of your deck. Again, let me know what you think. I think it's a solid idea. I think it's something, right? We might be on to something here, but hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You stay safe out there, make good decisions, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.